Hey, what's happening, everybody? Wow, sad day. Today, it was announced, or was it yesterday? I don't know. Maybe it was yesterday, uh, July 1st, or whatever it was, that Sony is going to stop, as of 2028, is going to stop, excuse me there, I was adjusting my microphone. Um, it's going to um, stop making physical, games anymore. No more disc. And we're going to call this character Game Over. Game Over class. Um, go with that. Uh, Physique, average, face, whatever, hair, doesn't matter. Um, okay. Okay. I just thought I'd put this in because I'm just for something in the background. I don't know how I feel. Um, I think it was. I think his channel is called Happy Console Gamer John. He's I think 50 and I'm 59, but I've not been a hardcore gamer my entire life. I missed out. I graduated high school the year that Nintendo came out, so I missed out on that. And I didn't get another game system until um, it was a toss up between Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and I went with the Sega Genesis, and I should have went with the Super Nintendo. But I digress. And then eventually I got into the PlayStation, and but before that, let me give you some background. I've always been a collector of stuff. When I was younger, about 9 or 10, I started collecting albums. Um, at a very young age, I spent almost all my money on records. Um, Originally, it was Elvis because my mom liked Elvis, and I was liked Elvis. Then I got into Kiss, Alice Cooper, Aerosmith, Elton John. I was a Kiss fanatic, part of the Kiss Army, all that stuff from the 70s. Yeah, I'm from the 70s. As a kid, teenager in the 80s, a real kid who rode his bike and everything. And then eventually I started collecting books and stuff, and I got into that and literature. And so I started just becoming a collector of those kind of things, and having that physical, well, physical media as it is, collecting. And then of course I started collecting movies. It was like movies, books, um, uh, and music. And then of course, and then eventually I added to that gaming. And when I got into PlayStation 1, I don't think I was really that much interested at the time of like the Sega Genesis, with Sonic and all. It's okay, but um, but I really, really got into once I hit the Sony PlayStation. I I never owned an Xbox until years later. I bought an Xbox 360 on a whim, but I was always kind of a PlayStation nerd boy. Um, and I just really enjoyed the living crap out of the PlayStation and started collecting games. And I still have a lot of those games. Um, when I got divorced, I wound up a lot of the games that my stepson had became mine. He didn't really was not interested in the PlayStation anymore, and then I started dating a girl that was into the PlayStation and into gaming. She liked Nintendo, and I got her into PlayStation. So I was with this gamer girl, and we both started collecting. She liked books, she liked music, she liked gaming. So it just became a big part of my life, and it really has always been a big part of my life, collecting physical media that you can hold in your hands. Now, this is all unscripted, and I'm sorry if it sounds a little haphazard, but I think we're all kind of reeling. It's like we've just gotten this bad news, and none of us really know how to react to it. Because I knew that the PlayStation 6 was not going to have a disc drive, and that bothered me a lot. But I didn't think that Sony was just going to stop making the actual disc altogether. And then with GTA 6 saying that there would be no physical disc for that game, it was soul crushing. But I'm so sorry, my throat. But I'm really more into other games now. I really like RPGs and stuff better than I do the GTA series. But it didn't mean that I would not have bought the new GTA. I probably would have. But to have no disc at all, and then for them to say in 2 years, in 2028, they're just not going to make the disc anymore. I just started a job, and I've only been there 2 months. Well, there's another gamer guy there that I work with. He's 50 or 51 or something like that. He just randomly let me borrow a game. He was just like he just brought in a game one day and for me to play. You know, that's part of um, uh, the gaming world. We stick together. You know, gamers stick together. They really do. And I I wasn't shocked that he just randomly, let me borrow a game. He was like, yeah, go play this, see what you think. That's what we do. That's what gamers do. Or even with like music or books, we loan stuff out. We as collectors of media, as physical media, whether that be books, movies, games, whatever, whatever it is, we, we share that with people. And then what they're doing now is they're saying you're not going to share that with anybody anymore. You're going to, it's going to be a very lonely, lonely experience collecting digital games and digital music and digital anything. I don't, I just this week, I just received a CD in the mail. So for me, in the last 2 months, I have bought 2 video games, 2 or 3 CDs, and a movie. So that kind of tells you what I'm interested in. My whole world is really kind of based on physical media, and I am uh, proud of that. I like to tell people, like, you know, I have this massive collection of of uh, of movies and of games and of books. And for what bothers me, I try to tell someone this just today, and I said to them, someone in my family, I said it's an end of an era. It's the end of something special. And they were like, well, you can just get into something else. You can just start collecting something else. And I was like, but you don't understand. I mean, ever since really the PlayStation 1, I have been an advocate for gaming in general, and the actual idea of holding the game in the box itself in your hands, reading the manual. For a long time, it always came with a manual, came with a map and all this stuff, stickers, and then they kind of got rid of that, and so you were And you're like, oh, okay, all right. And then it was like digital. You would buy something like Dark Souls, and it might have a digital art book in it, and I didn't like that. I'm not necessarily saying Dark Souls. I'm saying games in general. And I was like, okay. But what really made me sad was, and the fact that I got a CD in the mail yesterday. By the way, it's the new Corrosion of Conformity CD. Corrosion of Conformity. That's what it says. COC. It's a great CD, by the way. Great CD. It really feels almost to the point of um, utter despair, desperation, and sadness. Because what I'm worried about is maybe it's already here. People don't really buy CDs anymore. They don't really listen to the whole album anymore. They listen to one or two songs. Nobody buys books anymore. Movies, people just, if they don't go to the theater, they stream it, but they don't ever own it. They don't go out and buy the movie. Of course, new movies are horrible anyway. So why would you want to own one unless it was some kind of cool independent film? So I just felt with the end of gaming, discs themselves, it really kind of put the whole like a death knell. Like it was like the nail in the coffin, the whole thing like that. It's over. It's game over. And Sony absolutely does not care about anything because I think 92% of their sales in the last few years have been for digital downloads only. So, that being the case, why would you want to have physical media? Why would you want to make a disc? Why would you want to pay a manufacturer to have a disc anymore? You know, uh, my my nephew. I have two nephews, and one of them is only 21. He never buys CDs, ever. Um, Now games, I'm not quite so sure about. Uh, but I know that with CDs, he doesn't buy anything. It's the end of something special. And I wrote down some numbers here about what I own. I have about 100 PS3 games. I have 110, give or take, PS4 games. I have about 15 PS5 games. I still own maybe 25 or 30 PS1 and PS2 games. I've got a few um, Sega Genesis games. And I've got about 10 Xbox 360 games. So altogether, we're talking one or two, maybe like my collection is not as big as some people, but I've gotten rid of some games that they remaster a lot of stuff from the PS3. They remastered it for the PS4. Games like Assassin's Creed and all that stuff, and BioShock. Um, so I have about 300 something games, and recently I picked up Crimson Desert, and I got Stalker 2. Crimson Desert is a giant game that you could easily probably put 500 hours in. I've heard that Stalker 2 is a fairly massive game that you could probably put in 100 hours or something. So, and that's great. But in 2 or 3 years' time, that would have been a digital download. And I'm just not going to do that. I do, and I hate to say this, and I'm doing this kind of on purpose. This game here, Dark Souls, which I absolutely adore, even though I'm not that, now that I'm older, I'm not that good at it anymore. Isn't it funny? Now that I'm almost 60, my hand-eye coordination has gotten way worse. There was a time about 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, when I was just on top of my game, and I played nothing but exclusive Dark Souls games, and I got pretty good at them, and I beat all the games. Bloodborne was rough, but even recently, I had the PS5 version of Demon Souls, and I'm struggling with it, struggling. Even though that might be one of the easier games because you have so many health items and stuff. I remember when I first played this, I was like, I need that item. Don't worry, people. You might be able to get it eventually. I'm not going to say how. Who's in there? Hello, how are you? We're like they said, it's some dark times because I think this is going to transcend gaming and go into other physical medias. But see, I order mostly older like movies. You know, I just picked up Reservoir Dogs at a thrift store, 2 disc collector's special edition. It's got the widescreen edition, and the full screen. It's DVD. It's not even Blu-ray, but for its time, it would have been considered elite. But I got it for $3, and I didn't own that Quentin Tarantino movie, so to me, it was a really good find. And it looked like it was no scratches on it, no smudges. So that was great. So a lot of the stuff that I get and buy are older. But I will not be purchasing the PS6. Not going to do it. Not going to waste my time with that. Um, it, it with no disk drive. Let's just get this out of the way. Yes. Give me my Estes. Okay. Bye. Oh, what I was trying to say is this game here is a download. This is a digital download. This is what happened when they remastered this game, the Dark Souls One. It was supposed to come out like on a Tuesday. Well, for years things would come out on Thursdays. So when I went to the store, a Walmart store in Cornelia, Georgia, I'm calling it out, in North Georgia, I asked the girl at the counter in the electronics, excuse me, where's Dark Souls? It's supposed to come out today. And back then, they would usually have some new releases. She says, "Oh, that stuff comes out on Thursday." And I said, "No, it's supposed to come out today on Tuesday." She was like, "Nope, it's coming out on Thursday." And I said, "If you could go look in the back, you might see it in a box." She was like, "Nope, sorry, can't do it. It'll come out on Thursday, and we might not even have it." So I got so angry when I went home. I digitally downloaded this game for $40. Now, which I would have normally never done because I own the PS3 version, but I wanted it remastered. It runs at 60 FPS. So, and I still have not bought I might even do that this week. since Sony is so adamant about like you don't own anything, it makes me nervous that this right here is a digital download, which is I'm such against. But here I am, it's a digital download. So I did it. I admit it. I caved in. But will I cave in 2 years? No. I'm done. I'm done with that. It's okay. And I will, because at any given time, right here, this they could snatch this game away from me easily, easily. Whoa, those little wiener boys. Oh wow. Whoa. Forgot about that guy with the bow. Stop it. Get away from that fog door. And that other guy that's in the other room. Oh, the ruins. Looking at these ruins here just reminds me of how Sony and how gaming and how physical media in general is all in ruins. Just like this place, all in ruins. So it's almost fitting that I'm playing a digital download right now. It kind of makes me seem almost like a hypocrite. But it was just that one day I was so angry with that girl. Nope, 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 not. She didn't go look in the back or nothing. And so I just, you know, but and I just have not bought this game in the physical form. But I think I can get it for $20. So I think I might order it. I think I might order it this week actually. Seeing if something special, my friends. You will not own anything. Absolutely goddamn right when it comes to physical media. But if you can, go out and buy those CDs. If you can, go out and buy those books. If you can, go out and buy those movies. If you can, go out and buy those games. Mm. As soon as I get the Dark Souls game, even though I'm probably not that good at it anymore, I will delete this from my library because I know eventually it'll just be gone. And that's the biggest problem that people don't understand is that code that they're going to give you for the new GTA game that comes out this year. That code is not going to last forever. There's going to be a licensing problem somewhere down the line, and all of a sudden they're going to yank that game right from your digital library. It's going to happen, and you're going to take it. You're going to allow this to happen. I'm going to go one step further. All these people out there like Angry Joe and all them, they're gonna suck it. They're gonna buy the PS6. They're gonna digitally download games, and they're gonna never talk about physical media again. They're because this is their livelihood. Um, Gaming is their life, so they have to roll with the punches. But a lot of us, like me, being in older, want to, you know, you see what we're getting ready for. We're about to hit that bad boy. Let's get full health. Then we're in this video. I think it's almost hilarious that as I'm talking about gaming and the physical media, I'm actually playing a digital download. It shows you that you can't escape it. You cannot escape um, the digital world. We all live in a digital world now. Everything is just that way. But with something special like a game like Dark Souls, which may be one of the most you have some important games out there. Dark Souls is probably one of the more important games of all time, right up there with, say, Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and Fallout 3. And for me to have it digitally downloaded is a sacrilege. But I didn't know that in a couple of years there would be nothing. After I get off here and stop talking to you guys, I'm going to listen to that CD that I ordered. I'm going to finish listening to it, and then I might watch Reservoir Dogs on DVD. But I'm really angry with Sony. I don't have a Blu-ray player anymore, so I might play it on the Xbox 360. But I think I'm going to go and buy a Blu-ray player so that when I watch movies, well, I can't watch 4K movies. I only own like, I think I own Apocalypse Now and the Godfather series. They're the only 4K movies I own. So I haven't really, and plus I don't know how much those players are. I will just stick with the Blu-ray player for now. And then I'll just start watching movies on my Blu-ray player just to kind of stick it to Sony. You know, they can just suck it. They can really just suck it. God. Hello, Asylum Demon. More like Sony's demon. Uh-oh. God, he seems so scary. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. I can tell I haven't played this in a while. And this is easy. My God, I'm doing terrible. I was doing two-handed. Thank you for some humanity, which Sony doesn't have. Ba-dum-bum. Huh, 2,000. That's that's a pretty good bit. I've forgotten that you could get a 2,000 from the Asylum Demon. Trying to figure out where. There it is. I always kind of forget where some of the stuff is. We're not going to mess with Snuggly. Let's just get out of here. Get to Firelink Shrine. This is like such an amazing scene anyway. Well, I am sorry about the state of affairs of physical media. CDs are kind of over with in a way. Even though I just ordered a CD and I'm listening to it in my vehicle. Most cars now don't even have a CD player, and now in the gaming world, you're never going to be able to have. You're never going to be able to trade it in or buy it used or loan it to a friend anymore. That's over. It is the end of something incredibly profound and special. We have reached a kind of apocalyptic void of physical media being non-existent. Much like our character here in Firelink Shrine. Now, if only we could rest at bonfires and kindle, reverse hollowing, level up, and do all that great stuff. We could level up and we could have physical media all over again. It is a shame. It is a true shame. Well, thanks for listening. This is a very off the cuff thing that I wanted to do myself. And I feel very sad. It's not just for gaming, it's for all physical media. One day there will be nothing. There will be not a book on a shelf. There will be no albums, music. There will be no movies. There will be nothing. You will own nothing, and you will not only will you own nothing, but you'll be happy that you own nothing. Your whole life will just be one giant digital fuck you, a, a digital junkyard. That's all. That's what your life will be. But thanks for watching, and game over, man. Game over.